Cool. Okay. Well, welcome, guys. It's cool to have you here. I'm Aaron. I'm the CEO of Pedestal. We've got some other people on as well from Pedestal. So we're launching our alpha program. And basically, it's as simple as if you're an aspiring software engineer or an early stage software engineer, we'll hook you up with some free mentoring in return. All we ask is that if you spot a bug when you're on our platform, you just let us know. So we've actually incentivized that as well. So you get cash rewards for finding bugs, which is pretty rad. So a little bit about me, just so I'm going to be mentoring. I'm one of the mentors. So obviously you should know a little bit about my background. I'm a blockchain engineer. I've been a software engineer for I think like five or 6 years now. And I found that jumping into the industry is pretty difficult. Actually. And so when you go and get that education that you might have, or you might have been thinking about getting, you'll find that once you actually want to get that job, there's a big gap, between what you actually learn and what the organizations want from you. And so that's kind of what we're fixing at Pedestal. We want to close the gap. So we don't want you to have problems finding that job. And so we think mentoring is a good solution. And so we're offering it. And so there's going to be we'll have questions. Oh, what was that? Okay. We'll have time for questions at the end, but you can, since there's not too many of us, you guys can probably hop in if you have any questions, but we'll probably get to everything. So we're going to cover an overview. It's probably going to be quicker than this. I talk way too fast. And then we'll go over the outcomes of the program and the schedule. And then we'll talk about next steps and set aside time for questions. So I don't like doing the full, you'll find this out if you work with me. I don't like to waste time. So I will make sure to get as much info out as possible. And then you'll have this as your reference, right? Plus, I'm going to give you guys my number so you can text me or whatever anytime about this. So, and then we'll talk about how you can actually join the program. Cool. All right. So it is a 4-week program. It does start on in December. So that means we're going to do a week break for the holidays. We'll get to that when we get to the schedule. There's no planned agenda. So if you're coming to this program and you're expecting us, it's not a cohort. It's not like we're treating it like a cohort, right? But there's no prep content. So what we'll be doing is, as one of the mentors, we're going to extract from you what you want to grow into, right? So one of the first things you do is you're going to get on, you're going to set a goal. It doesn't have to be your permanent goal, okay? And we're going to help you work towards that goal, whether or not you complete it in the 4 weeks. Obviously you can set a lofty goal, like I want to be a software engineer at Google. That might be one of your goals. If you set that as your goal, great. We're going to support you and we're going to help you get as close as we can in those 4 weeks. And just so you know, if everything goes well, I mentor. I'm a professor. I also mentor all the time, and I'm building a mentoring startup. So it's not like we're going to go away, right? So you'll get access to the platform afterward, and you'll get some pretty cool grandfathered in perks that I'll talk about once we get to the rewards. But basically, I don't want you guys to come on and think that we have all this content prep. I do. It is a two-way street. So you'll set that goal and we'll help you work towards it. Okay, so mentorships don't have plans. Moral of the story, right? So here's the thing. Goals are super duper important, but it doesn't mean that it's your permanent goal. You'll get provision to shared workspace to work with me and KJ. She's the other software engineer. So she's in LA. I'm in San Diego. So we'll talk a little bit about time zones. What the goal of mentorship, right, is not just to exchange that knowledge. It's also to kind of, if it goes well, to sponsor and give access to the network. We want to see you succeed. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure you do, right? And so you'll get into it what you put into it. Same thing with education, but obviously I think there's something wrong there. So we're doing this. So one of the cool things we're doing is a bug bounty program. So we'll teach you about this, but we're actually using this as user acceptance testing. So for you budding software engineers, that's basically the last phase of testing where we're saying, okay, our users are happy with what we built. So we'll go over that. But basically, whoever reports the most bugs in the program, we're going to give $250. So not only are you getting free mentoring, there you go. So there's an incentive. We're only going to give you a point if we actually remediate the bugs. So don't go out and spam them because I am going to be the one reading through them. All right. Okay, so some of the rewards. So you'll get free access, right? Which obviously mentoring on the platform isn't going to be free. So that's pretty legit. We've already talked about the bug bounty program. So we are going to give you a certificate if you stay with us the whole time, and your software engineer mentor will sign it. If things go super duper well, we're likely to record a reference video. So I don't want to blatantly promise a reference video, but we're trying to add tangibility, right? Because if you put that you are mentored for like the equivalent of 200 hours on a resume, who's going to care? No one. So we're going to make it tangible for you. So we want to give you resources that will help you, and you can slam on your resume and be like, look, this dude is CEO of Pedestal. He's a blockchain engineer and he's vouching for me on video, right? For better or worse, I hope that's worth something, right? So you'll get that. You also, we do have some pretty cool tech that we're going to be integrating down the line. We are going to integrate blockchain. So we are doing you're going to get an NFT if you want it. You'll be the only ones with that NFT. We are going to do seasonal NFTs throughout Pedestal's lifetime. So you guys are going to get the alpha NFTs, which is pretty cool. You also get a badge on the actual Pedestal platform. No one else will have that badge. We have a whole achievement suite that we'd love to tell you about. In addition to that, you get grandfathered in to premium for 3 months on our platform. It just gives you some value add stuff, which I'm happy to go over later. But so some pretty good rewards. I was trying to, full disclosure, I was trying to, when I was coming up with them, I was thinking about things that I would want. And I was like, well, I definitely want to do something with like money. So I wanted to make sure, you know, like I get it, like free mentoring is great, but you're doing us a favor as well. So we want to reward you for doing that. Cool. All right. So outcome, obviously, we want you to be successful. I want to see you succeed. I want you to, if you're working towards it, I want to see you get it. So that's the goal. For better or worse, what I always tell people at Pedestal is if you're with us for 5 minutes or 5 years, I want to see you grow. So that's internally. Now I get to actually do that externally, right? We're really excited to launch. So we do have industry knowledge. I have done some pretty senior stuff in my short-term tenure. I work as a compliance analyst, very senior over at a big company. So I actually stand up architecture and make sure it adheres to compliance standards as well. On top of the blockchain and software engineering, I had a software consultancy. KJ, the other software engineer, she went through General Assembly. We actually both did, not at the same time, just by chance. Then she worked for General Assembly. So we've got some experience that we'd love to share and let you know some of the things that you're not going to pick up from Google, which obviously, like, we're going to hone in on your Google skills. But again, we also want to give you feedback, but that means we want feedback. So it's two ways. We want in the first week, if you're like, damn, this is going terrible, Aaron sucks. Okay, don't give up. Give me feedback, right? I am an educator, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get it right every time, right? I love feedback. It's great. And we're going to teach you a little bit about how to accept feedback. You have to be able to in this space, and software engineers are notoriously terrible at communicating. So when they give you feedback, it's going to come off terrible. So I'll help you kind of deal with that. They don't mean it. All right. So just software engineers are an enigma, and you'll hopefully be one of them after this. And then of course the money thing, I've already kind of gone over that, but connections. So if it goes super well, I vouch for people on in my network. Happy to. I have connections at some organizations like Classy, among others in San Diego, but most orgs are remote now, and I've got a pretty big network I'm happy to share with you, obviously in due time. But I think it's super important, if we're going to be working together, I'm going to see how you work, right? So I should be willing, if I'm like, all right, this guy's a great worker, you know, I mean, it's kind of just natural. Okay, cool. So schedule, December 13th is actually the kickoff meeting. We'll only have one meeting not on the platform. Everything we do is going to take place on the platform. We've got video on the platform. We've got chat on the platform. You get a whole shared workspace where you can store files, among other things. We're going to be releasing features while you're on it and kind of testing them with you guys. We won't see, we're not going to tell you that. We're just going to say this feature's out, but we're secretly testing them. It's not that secret. So the whole thing that we're kind of doing here, obviously, is to make sure it's, you know, it works, right? We're doing our own testing, so you're not getting on a platform that's going to be terrible. I'm a huge polish guy, despite my very terrible PowerPoint that I've made. Somebody doesn't, it's like I shouldn't be unleashed to make PowerPoints, but nobody stopped me, so I made it. So we get a 1 week break for the holidays after that first week. So December 13th to the 20th, and then you get a week break for the holidays. I'm going to be working. So if you are on, feel free. We can hop on a call or you can message me. I'm not going anywhere, right? I am traveling for the holidays, but like I bring my laptop and I'm running a business, so I'm always on. So if you end up being on that week, great, we'll connect. The other software engineer, I think she's going to have that hard week off, but I guarantee she's going to respond. So then the second week we'll continue in December 29th. And then we wrap up and we do sort of a superlative award ceremony, cool sort of deal on January 17th. So that's when you'll get your certificate. We'll talk about next steps and we'll talk about how we can stay in touch if you want to. And we'll leave that up to you guys. If you're like, this was the greatest thing ever, I want to stay in touch, great. We will give you the resources to do so. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, basically next steps for you. Think about your goals. Okay. If you're interested, there's a type form. Okay. There's a type form to fill out. It just asks for some super simple details like first name, last name, email, and then a couple of other small things. Let me share that in the chat. That's how we're going to get your data so that we can sign you up. We're going to provision you an account and we'll reach out via email and kind of go over the legit next steps of, you know, here's when you're going to meet with the kickoff. We'll send out the kickoff invite, all that fun stuff. By 11:26, if you're in this meeting, let us know. You don't have to let me know today. You can think about it. But there's no expectation, right? And we do that on purpose. So I don't want to overwhelm you guys. You're probably busy. But if you aren't and you want to dive in and you want to, you know, get a lot out of this, you can. So there's basically their only restriction is my time as the mentor and KJ's time as the mentor, right? It's up to you how much you want to leverage us. Okay. We set the cadence with you. We're going to tell you, I'll say, hey, I can meet X amount of times per week or whatever you want to do. Hey, let's, you know, I'll respond to you probably within an hour, things like that. So that's the way that Pedestal is going to work initially is what we're thinking. So we want to kind of test that with you guys as well. So let me send out before I forget, let me send out the type form to everybody. Cool. That's what you'll fill out to get on the platform, and we'll sign you guys up and all of that and let you know. We'll send you reminder emails, all of those like very high energy emails. That's it though. It's pretty straightforward. Free mentoring with some additional rewards. And for that, you're helping us out with user acceptance testing, and hopefully we're helping you out becoming that software engineer, diving deeper into the space. Any questions from anybody here? Cool, guys. I mean, I told you I'd talk fast. I set aside the extra time. In theory, we'd love to have you. So feel free to fill out the type form and we'll get back to you shortly. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes in case anybody has any questions, but that's legitimately it. And I can take other questions after I stop the recording if you guys want to ask like about blockchain or anything like that. I usually end up chatting about like crypto like 2 minutes into a conversation. So
question, Aaron?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you put together any kind of like structure in terms of where you're going to start with the programming and how far you're going to progress that? You said you're going to get a little bit into blockchain and some other stuff. Are you segmenting that out by week? Do you have a plan, or are you just going to kind of roll through it?
No, so great question. We don't want to prep any content. And the reason being, I know we're running this kind of like a cohort. We're going to gauge it in the first week, what you want to learn, right? So the goal setting is going to be kind of big. We're going to step through how to set your goal, and we're going to focus on what you want to achieve. But with that being said, not everybody wants to be a blockchain engineer, right? This isn't we're not focusing on a specific sort of area of software engineering. If there is one you want to, great. But that's because everybody's going to be at a different level, right? So we didn't want to set up some sort of content because that's not what Pedestal is going to be. We're going to work with you towards your goal, and everybody's different and has their own goal.
All right. So you're going to wait to get the goals, and then you're going to structure around that.
Yep. With that
fairly individual.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, very individualistic. Great. Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Great question. Cool. Any other questions, guys?
just with regards to meeting times, that's all going to be based on availability for both parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So whatever we would in that first week, we'd figure out our cadence together, right? Because you're going to be meeting, and it's, I've mentored a lot of people, and some of the people I mentor, I meet like honestly once every 3 months, and they just shoot me an email. And so I know we're going to have some people like that, and then I'm going to have some people that want to meet multiple times per week, and so we're happy to do that. It'll be what that specific individual wants. Cool. All right, well, that's it for me, guys. If you have any other follow-up questions, I'm going to shoot my number out in the chat. I mentioned I was going to share it. I don't want this to be recorded though, so hold on. How do I stop the recording?